Hold up. So you telling me the reason why you like to turn out white boys because you was a pimp out there in the free world and they remind you of the white women you used to pimp out? You was a nasty, filthy motherfucker.
Wow.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Towards the end of my bid, one would say that I got soft. And the reason why I say that is because when I first got locked up, I was a really bad guy. And I'm ashamed of who I was when I first got locked up, because in my mind, I just felt like I was never getting out. And I didn't have no help on the streets, and I didn't have no family, no friends, nobody to hold me down. And, you know, in prior videos, I told y'all that, you know, I was living off the land. So would I say I was proud of the person that I was in prison? No. Do I regret all the harm that I caused on inmates? Man, 50-50. Do I apologize? Yes, I do. You know, I was just sitting here thinking about this dude named Bobcat that I was locked up with, this older black convict. And this is who this story is all about. But before I get to that, you know, to that prison story, I was just over here reflecting about all the stuff that I've been through in prison and how it made me a worse and a better man at the same time. But let's get to Bobcat. So anyway, this was like, I maybe had 3 months left on my sentence, right? And I ended up checking in to go to the hole. Now I know some of you guys gonna be like, yo, Dante, wait a minute. You checked in? You went to the hole? Not big old bad Dante, not Mr. Push That Blade. Dante, you checked in? Let me explain, okay? The reason why I checked in, because like I said, I had 3 months to go. And normally, you know, the things that I was involved in, if I got caught with a knife, let's say if I got caught with a knife, right? They would probably give me 6 more months to a year, okay? If I got into a fight with somebody, depending on how severe the fight was, because I go all out for mine. I go all the way. I bangs out for mine. Meaning I'm going to cause great bodily injury, harm to your body if we get into it. Because with me, it's never just a head up, straight up fight. I got to do the most to you. I got to dance on you. I got to put my body on your body, pause, and do you bad, right? Because my philosophy in prison was to make a example every time, right? To deter the next man from trying to do something or try to get away with something. But nevertheless, I checked in the hole because I didn't want to mess up my time. I wanted to go home. I was tired of being in prison. So I ended up getting put in the hole, right? Now, in the hole where I was at, it's a 2-man cell, right? 2-man cell. And it's only 20 cells in the hole, all right? There was this dude named Bobcat. I never met him. I never heard of him or anything. So I ended up getting put in there or whatever. And, Bobcat was on the top rack or whatever. So I'm thinking automatically like, okay, cool, bet. I ain't got to argue with this guy to get the bottom rack or anything. I don't got to really establish dominance in here because he already got the top rack. So, okay, I got the bottom. Cool, right? So I get in there, right? And he's reading the Bible. And I'm like, what's up, man? He was like, oh, what's good? I said, not much. He was like, what you do to get back here? I said, what you do to get back here. Now, the reason why I just didn't straight out tell him why I'm back here in the hole, because that would have been real foolish of me. If, let's just say, if this man got 10 or 20 or a life sentence, and I tell him, yo, I just checked in the hole because I'm about to go home in a couple of months and I don't want to mess up my parole or my out date, he's 9 times out of 10, if he a psycho, he might try to mess that up for me and cause an issue in here where I'm going to have to do something to him, or he going to have to do something to me, and it's going to mess up my time, right? Because a lot of dudes do that. That's why I tell y'all, if you ain't never been to prison before, don't tell people how long you got, and especially when you about to get out, because people will mess that up for you. Even who you think that's your friends or your homeboys, they'll mess that up for you. But anyway, let's get back to the story. So anyway, so he tell me like, man, I like boys. Now, when he said I like boys, at this time, I did not know boys meant homosexuals, right? I always called them sissies or punks. Now, this dude Bobcat was from the South. I think he was from Alabama or Mississippi. So I guess they call they sissies boys or whatever. So when he said boys, my mind instantly went to this dude is a chomo. This dude like kids. So I said, excuse me? He was like, I like, I like the boys or whatever. I said, now he's looking at my face. I can't hide my feelings, right? I leave my feelings right on my sleeves, right? You can see it all over my face. So I guess he realized like, oh shoot, he must be interpreting what I'm saying wrong. So he was like, no, man, I like white guys. I like white guys, and I can't get enough of them. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I start unpacking my stuff, right? Now I know. A lot of y'all are gonna be like, yo, Dante, wait a minute. I thought you said you can't, sell up with no punk or no sissy. Yeah, that's true. You can't sell up with a gay guy. But in prison, it's like so weird, man. It's like, yeah, you can't sell up with no sissy or no punk, but you can sell up with the dominant man in that relationship, if that make any sense to y'all. But nevertheless, I really didn't have no say in the matter anyway, because I'm back in the hole. You don't get no choice of where you going. So I had no choice, but this ain't what the story about. So I asked him, I'm like, so what happened? What you doing back here? So he was like, well, there was this white guy named Strawberry that just came from Leavenworth, and I told him that I wanted to be with him or whatever, and he already had a man or whatever, and I did what I supposed to do. I wined and dined him. I was giving him food, giving him shampoo, giving him soap, giving him toothbrushes, white teas, black teas, whatever he wanted, I had for him, right? But, I knew he had a man or whatever, but at the same time, I just put my best foot forward. End of the day, he chose to be with the other guy, and I ended up putting that knife in his neck. I said, what? He was like, yeah, I don't play, man. Dude ain't about to lead me on. So I was like, okay. So he was like, so what you doing back here? I was like, well, I stabbed a couple of cats, and they caught a slingshot in my cell or whatever. It was like, a slingshot? What's that? I said, a double-edged knife, and, I had it on the string. I was about to shoot it like a kite to one of my homeboys a couple cells down. They found that, So they gave me about 6 months back here. So obviously, y'all know I'm lying, right? So he was like, oh, okay. So it had to been probably 1 o'clock at this time, because they brought me to the hole late, like real late. Actually, it was at the count, like right before we all got locked down. So he already in the bed. I'm getting myself adjusted to get in the bed too or whatever. So nevertheless, I'm on the bed, right? And I'm like, hey, so what you do to get in here, man? Like, what you do to get in prison? He was like, you want to know? I said, yeah, man, that's why I asked. It was like, man, I ended up getting locked up for armed robbery. I said, how long they give you? They gave me 5 years. I said, they gave you 5 years? How long you been here? He was like, well, they gave me 5 years, but, I just kept, getting in trouble up in here. So, shoot, I got, 18 years to go? I said, whew, okay. So he was like, you want to hear the story? I said, yeah, what happened? He said, so back in the day, he used to be a pimp. And he used to like pimp out white girls. And that's all he used to do is pimp out white girls. He said his philosophy was that, shoot, the white man always got their neck on a black man, so he gonna get the white man trophies and pimp them out, which is the white women or whatever. So he said that one day, one of his white girls, which I found out later on that he was messing with underage white girls. So that wasn't cool. But anyway, he's basically how I found that out, because when he got to breaking down what he would do, now it made sense. So what he would do is go to like the Greyhound station, bus stations, like small towns in this city or whatever, at the Greyhound stations, and he would know the type, runaways, little white girls that look like they're in distress or whatever, and he'll like pull up on them. He'll see that they hungry, give them something to eat, tell them like, I just want to be a friend or whatever. And he said that he'd go take them to a hotel or whatever, then turn them out basically, and do what he do. And back then, I don't think they had this diagnosis, but it's called Stockholm syndrome. Because one would say, well, why won't they just leave or run away? Because I guess he did so much for them that they felt like they owe him or whatever. But I don't know, there's some whatever. But anyway, so he said one day, one of his girls, two of his girls, went with this black guy. He said that he really didn't like to pimp out the girls to black dudes, because they'd like dog them out or whatever. And but he said it was just one black dude that was pressing them. And he said usually his rate was $150 an hour or whatever. But, this dude came up with $500, said, yo, I want 3 of them. I want 3 of the snow bunnies, basically. And so he was like, all right, whatever. So he gave him the money or whatever. He gave him the money. The girls go to the hotel with the black guy. He said he's sitting outside. This is what he do all the time. He always is outside of the hotel or wherever, this transaction thing is going down at, whatever. So he said that he outside and he just hear the girls screaming, right? The girls is screaming. He get out the car. He run up the stairs and he telling them, open the door, right? And finally, one of the girls get to open the door, but it basically, it was a tug of war at the door with the black dude inside is trying to hold them hostage, and the pimp guy, Bobcat, is telling me the story, is trying to get in the hotel room, whatever. So he said he finally got in there, and the dude had a knife at one of the girls' neck or whatever, and the other 2 girls was like huddled up crying in the corner, whatever. And he was like, yeah, man, yeah, I'm taking this one. I'm gonna take one of these bees. And he like, Bobcat like, well, what you mean you finna take one, man? This is my problem. He was like, no, man, they some H's. You don't own them. This was mine. Right? So he said, like, he didn't want, and dude basically was cutting at the girl a little bit, showing that he wasn't playing. He cut her a little bit. So Bobcat was like, all right, man, just don't damage the goods, man. Just don't damage the goods, man. Just go, right? This is where the story get, how can I say, the story goes left for Bobcat. So, as Bobcat is standing on the side, right? He's standing on the side of the hotel room, right? With a hotel door. The black dude holding a knife at the girl. He's in the doorway about to come out. The police is coming up the street. I guess somebody done called next door, whatever, to heard the commotion. So the police is coming up the street. Dude pushes the white girl to the floor and run past Bobcat, right? And he jump off the balcony and will take off running. The police jump out because they see the white girls coming out the room and they see Bobcat. Now, keep in mind, y'all, this is a small town, okay? Y'all know the towns where it's majority white, and yeah, there is a couple of interracial relationships here and there, but y'all know how them cops really be feeling like, oh, so this black dude is with this white girl, right? And especially when they found out how old they was, because the girls wasn't telling the age. So this is how he got charged with armed robbery. So when the cops pull up, they got the three girls over here sitting right here, and they got Bobcat in the patrol car. And the police asking the girls, and more cops done pulled up and everything. So the police asking the girls, like, what are y'all doing here? Who is he to y'all? And, they refusing. They are refusing to tell on, like, yo, he our pimp, basically, whatever. But they not telling them nothing. So they go down to the office, right? And they ask, it's an Indian guy that run the little hotel or whatever. They ask him, like, have you seen him around here? And do you know what was going on, right? They play the tape back, right? They play the tape back, and they see the black dude run out the hotel, right, and jump over thing. So what they do, since the white girls ain't telling what's the real deal is, they charge Bobcat with aggravated robbery, basically saying he robbed these white girls. He's kicking. You see him pushing in on the camera on the door and kicking the door, whatever, trying to get in, right? But the white girls ain't telling what really took place or whatever. So they end up charging him with aggravated robbery, and, well, here we go. So I said, damn. So I said, hey, let me ask you a question, man. Like, what made you, turn that way? He was like, what you mean? I said, that way, like, liking dudes. He was like, well, first of all, I don't like dudes. I said, come again? I thought you said that you like boys, sissies. He was like, no. I don't think you misunderstood what I said. I like white boys, and that don't make me gay. I said, how you figure? He said, because they not really like human. They like 97% Neanderthal and 3% human. I said, what? He said, I read that in a book somewhere, that white men and women are 97% Neanderthal and 3% human. So I'm sitting there, right? Well, not sitting, I'm laying there. And I said, in my thoughts, I'm like, yo, this dude is bugged out. What do he mean 97% Neanderthal and 3% human? So I said, hold on, let me get this right. Let me get this right, y'all. I said, so, this is what I say to him. I'm like, so you don't think that you're not gay because white people are 97% Neanderthal and 3% human. So with that logic, because they are 97% Neanderthal, I said, but it's male and female. There's let's just say that's true, which I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. Some of you people in the comment section might know about that, but I don't know. But anyway, he go on to tell me like, yeah, man, they not human, so it don't count. So let me tell y'all something. If you do enough time in the joint, you gonna hear all type of different theories, conspiracy theories, all type of literature that you ain't never heard about before. So he get into this whole spiel about humans and the black man bioengineered a mutated gene that produced white people, and that produced the Neanderthals. And I'm like, oh, okay. So basically, he's sitting up there for about 30 minutes justifying to me why he like white boys, whatever. So I'm like, okay, now I done had enough of this talk, right? So I tell him like, so what's the no, because this was the second time I was in the hole back here or whatever, but I ain't been in the hole in months, right? The last time I was in the hole, it was just that little altercation that I had on the yard with KB or whatever, and only had me back there for maybe, 2 hours when they was interviewing me or whatever. So I never really had the full experience up until now of being in a hole or whatever. So I'm asking him like, yo, what's the rundown or whatever back here? He was like, well, we can sleep in. They feed us 3 times a day. They give us food loaf for breakfast, lunch, and then for dinner they just give us the leftovers of what everybody else done got or whatever. Now, I know some of y'all wondering like, yo, Dante, what is a food loaf? Okay, a food loaf is something that it's all the food that was discarded or leftover foods that they just put all together and bake it and give it to you. And it's very disgusting. It's very nasty. There's some people that actually like it, love it. And Bobcat was one of them. I gave him my food loaf breakfast and lunch because I just couldn't eat it, man. I couldn't eat it at that, but he was loving it. He was tearing it up. But anyway, so I asked him. I said, Bobcat, let me ask you this. Like, when you get out, are you going to, be with women or you going to be with white guys? And he was like, you know what? I didn't even really think about that. But I do know this, though. Since I've been putting down on the white guys up in here, I'm pretty sure if I get out, this is what he said, verbatim. He said, if I get out, I'm going to be pimping out white boys. Because if it's easy to do it here, it's easy pickings out there. And I can have as many as I want out there in the free world. And he said, that's my goal of when I get out. That's what I want to achieve, to pimp out as many white boys that I can in the free world. I will let y'all know right now, I wasn't in that cell with Bobcat more than a week. Well, we had an altercation because Bobcat decided that he wanted to walk around the cell naked. Now, let me explain something to you about prison cell etiquette. Yeah, sure, we in this cell 23-1, right? Sometimes we in here, we don't never get out. And for those that don't know what 23-1 is when you are stuck in your cell for 23 hours and you get out for 1 hour. Either you go to the rec yard or to the shower or get on the phone or whatever. But sometimes they don't even give you that 1 hour. So sometimes you just locked down and never getting out the cell. They say you don't post that's the policies that they have to let you out. But nah, you in a hole. They don't got to do nothing but stay black and die, or white and die, or Mexican and die, right? So yeah, the reason why I'm telling y'all this prison story right here is because there are some people that is locked up like Bobcat that should never get out, because the intentions of what they're going to do when they get out is pure malice, pure evil. Now listen, I don't really buy into that, the white man this, the white man that. I am a living testimony that if you make the right moves, and if Yeshua, aka Jesus, watching over you and guiding your ways in life, that you can make it. I'm not saying I'm rich. I'm not saying I'm wealthy, because I'm not rich and I'm not wealthy, but I'm doing okay. I haven't committed no crime in almost, 14 years, 13, 14 years. I've been legit for the last 13, 14 years. So, I'm able to take care of my family and, live an okay lifestyle. So, yeah, man, if you find yourself thinking about committing a crime, I want you, and this for any and everybody, if you're thinking about committing a crime, I want you to understand something. And especially if you're young and white, the chances is really high that you're going to get violated and you're going to get turned out. I be seeing these white cats, these young white cats that be acting like they urban or black or whatever, and they really come from a good home. Now I'm not talking about the white cats that come from the ghetto and that's a product of their environment. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about, the white cats that come from money or come from a decent living situation but want to act urban and black. Well, them are the ones that like Bobcat like to get. So just always remember, when you try to be down and be a part of the wrong crowd, and I'm talking about all races at this point, just understand there's a Bobcat that's in there that might want to get up in you. So always think about that before you try to commit a crime. With that, y'all, I'm gone. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to my movie and my gaming channel. I'ma have that link pinned at the top of the comment section. Also, y'all subscribe to Stacy's Storytime. She's tell phenomenal stories just like myself. And if y'all feeling generous, make sure y'all leave me a tip. I'm accepting Cash App, Zelle, and PayPal. Until next time, y'all take care. I'm gone.